Good evening, I'm Aaron Pabone. This is Game Journalism Network. Joining us for a special live discussion about the cancellation of the Western release of Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3 is joining me is Zombie Nath and Lome Noodle. Say hello, girls.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, the reason why we have them on this chat specifically is because we wanted to speak with girl gamers about the subject, not just every gamer out there. But a couple of things we wanted to make clear before we went on with this discussion. This discussion is different from our previous interviews we've done before. With live discussions, opinions are going to be thrown around, and all the opinions that you'll be hearing on this discussion do not reflect those of Game Journalism Networks. These are the opinions of myself and the people joining us in this discussion about this selected topic. Now, for those of you who are not aware, TechNote has decided to not release Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3 in the United States and Western audiences due to the fear of feminism issues in the Western side of the world. And first of all, we wanted to ask both Zombie and Lomain, what are your opinions about the Dead or Alive franchise before we really go on to this discussion?
I'm pretty much indifferent to it, to be honest. I mean, I haven't played a Dead or Alive game for years, but I'm not aggrieved that it exists. So, neither here nor there.
Well, I don't know if you're done, Zombie Nath. Are you okay there?
Yeah?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I like to let people go first because I'm kind of awkward and I like to be polite, so I'm sorry for being such a weirdo. Yeah, my opinion on it as both someone who plays video games from time to time and as a feminist, I actually, like, the entire franchise never really bothered me in the first place. Like, my insecurity and my self-esteem is not so low where I'm intimidated by animated girls with big titties and in skimpy bikinis. I mean, it's human nature to have that kind of art. I mean, from, you know, ancient Japanese art to those naked sculptures. Humanity's curiosity with the human body and its admiration for it is just a natural curiosity, and I don't think it's shameful at all to have those types of mediums created. In fact, I encourage it. And they do so in a way where they're not even objectifying women. They're just more of making something fun and silly, you know, something to play, you know, to laugh at, because, you know, the concept is it's a fighting game, but there's girls in, you know, bikinis playing volleyball. Like, that's silly, you know. It's supposed to be a serious game, but it's so lighthearted and goofy to play with. So I don't think it's terrible. And in fact, I encourage people to buy it.
Now, is there an understanding of where there is controversy behind this game?
No. People playing a beach sport in beachwear, I failed to see the issue there, but I'm sure Ernest Adams would have a different opinion, where he implicitly said that people with big boobs are morons and therefore we have no right to be in video games. Yeah.
I mean, we're, as a bearer of big titties myself, I actually find it kind of offensive that my size of breasts intimidates people so much to the point where they don't want them anywhere. I mean, I was made with this body. You know, I can't control puberty. Why do you want to shame?
Yeah, you know, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah, I mean, if our tits inspire creators to make, you know, big milky jugs, they're like, you know what, I like those titties, I'm going to make those titties, and I'm going to make them as beautiful as possible. I don't see the big deal. I mean, it's just
the assumption that comes from, you know, if somebody finds a part of the anatomy attractive, that means that they don't respect you as a person, which is frankly fucking ludicrous.
I know. Someone can both find you attractive and still respect you as a human being. I mean, it doesn't make you a bad person if you think a woman is attractive. It's how you treat her.
Yeah.
whether or not it makes you an asshole. I mean, if you ogle her, I mean, if I see a beautiful woman in public, I'm like, wow, she's gorgeous, you know. But like these people, they think that, oh, if you find a woman attractive, you know, that means that you don't see her as a person. You don't see her as someone with agency. I'm like, of course we do, silly. It's just.
Well, it just boggles my mind that they're more preoccupied with trying to preserve the image of a cluster of fucking zeros and ones than actual people.
I know. You know what? I don't care. I mean, if someone I see hentai all the time, and I don't look at it and go, what the fuck is that? God, people are so weird, sexist. Oh my god. It's just more like, okay, some people are into weird shit, or I see a picture of a hot hentai girl, I'm like, wow, I like that. I'm gonna retweet it, or I'm gonna tweet it myself, because sometimes I post hentai too. It's not a big deal. I don't care.
These are all completely understandable. I mean, and to be frank, I have played the Dead or Alive fighting games. I have not actually played any of the Extreme Beach Volleyball games. I do know that they exist, though.
I mean,
Not really a big fighting game kind of fan, but there is an understanding that these games are specifically marketed towards a male market. That being said, though, is there any reason why women would not be able to want to play these games, or is there anything that would turn women away from these games?
I mean, insecurity, but that's based on the player.
I mean, I personally am not interested in it because it's just not something that I typically would play, but it doesn't annoy me, it doesn't upset me that there are attractive women who are playing a sport that is supposed to be played on the beach in beachwear. Like, where's the issue?
I know. I mean, it's like it's not as though I wouldn't play it. I mean, I'd probably play it casually. Like, I wouldn't pick it up seriously. But every gamer has their taste. I mean, I'm more into RPGs and casual games, while another player I know plays more first-person shooters and gory games. It's mostly personal taste. But I think it's kind of dishonest to say that even though it's marketed towards men, women don't want to play it. I'm pretty sure plenty of women would play it. It's just that they wouldn't take it seriously.
And you know, that's a fair assessment, because I go to a lot of conventions, and I will see female cosplayers cosplaying as Dead or Alive characters. It's a fair assessment to make. It's also a fair assumption to make that they're probably fans of the game, especially in the cosplay community, because you're cosplaying as someone you admire, you appreciate, and you're a fan of that. Generally, that's what cosplayers do. So it's fair to assume that women are fans of the Dead or Alive franchise and probably would play this game as well.
Well, I think the implication when they say that, oh, girls wouldn't be into this is that, oh, it's all about my male gaze and lesbians don't exist. Like, no, stop.
Really absurd.
Now, there's one theory that's been running around, and Lomaine, you actually brought this up. We did a preview interview beforehand, and you brought this up, that there's a possibility that this could be a very clever marketing ploy. Why do you think that?
Well, it's just, as a consumer, we easily fall for anything that strokes our interest. I mean, I guess the most popular trend online going on right now is everybody is outraged about something, whether you're someone who's considered a social justice warrior, whether you're someone who calls himself an anti-feminist. There's always something to be angry about, whether you're conservative or if you're a leftist. There's always someone, and people don't like to admit it, someone out there who's ranting online about something, posting their opinion. Everybody thinks that what they have to say is important. It might be, it might not be, who knows. It depends on who wants to listen. And companies, I think what they like to do is they like to catch your eye with something controversial, and if it motivates you enough, they think that, okay, it's like with the whole Starbucks thing. That was obviously viral marketing. Several news media outlets said, oh, Christians are angry about Starbucks cups. They're not supporting the real message behind Christmas. And then a bunch of people who called themselves religious went to Starbucks, threw their money at them and said, oh, put it under the name Merry Christmas. And then hundreds of people posted pictures of themselves with their Starbucks cups. And it's like, congratulations, stuck it to them by paying them $5 for coffee that's not even coffee. It's more like a dessert in a cup. It's the same thing with the DOA controversy. I think that the company simply said, oh, these SJWs, we're trying to avoid controversy, so, we're going to make this a rarity, like a sort of a prize that you can have, and if you, buy it, you're sticking it to them. I think it's sort of the same aspect. I'm sorry if how do I say this? I'm sorry if I'm not clear enough about it, but I think I can get my point across.
It's fine. This is a discussion. We're talking as we can about this. And one thing that I've been also reading about has been also the Western market's appeal towards this game compared to the Japanese market. Apparently, like there's been supposedly more sales about the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball franchise in the United States compared to in Japan and overseas. But that's also under scrutiny as well. But wouldn't it make sense to try to release this game in the United States if there is more of a chance that you can sell this game here compared to overseas?
I think go ahead.
That sort of lends credence to your theory that this is just a marketing ploy. I mean, if there's enough demand, even more demand in America than in Japan for the game, then I don't see why they should capitulate to the demands of social justice, or so they claim, the demands of social justice. I mean, we've seen it firsthand with Direct2Drive, specifically targeting people and saying, oh, look, it's our trigger warning sale. Okay, it's a gas, it's funny. But ultimately, I think it's counterproductive to just buy something as a statement, if you like. You should just buy it because it's what you want. And there are actually ways to circumvent the embargo, as far as I'm aware. As there is that one retailer, PlayAsia. But yeah, if there's a higher demand in America, then it just doesn't make good business sense to pull what they've pulled unless there's an ulterior motive.
Speaking of PlayAsia, I'm sorry, Lemmy, were you about to say something?
Oh, as I was saying, and I agree with Zombie, I ultimately think that the way that they're marketing this game in North America behind controversy, I think that the reason why they did it was to make up for the sales in other international regions. And obviously it worked. And I think that this whole tactic was just to make up for the sales numbers that they were expecting in other areas but otherwise didn't get. And if things are going well for them, and if people are falling for this thing, which obviously some are, then, they duped everybody. Either way, if people want to, buy this game because they think that, it's shoving it in people's faces, then that's their choice. They're a consumer. It's a free market. They can throw their money at whatever they want. I just think that not everything is as it seems at first glance, especially when it comes to companies selling things.
Right. Now, PlayAsia is benefiting from this in so many ways because they're selling the import version of the game. And a lot of people have been saying that feminists have won because they are preventing a game from coming over to Western audiences. And this, of course, goes back to the whole thing that, oh, no one's going to be taking away our video games. Well, they won because they prevented a game from being released. However, what's stopping someone from simply just buying the game online through PlayAsia?
Yeah, like I said, there are ways to circumvent the embargo, so feminists haven't won. They've actually drummed up more business for this particular retailer who have stuck their neck out, and they've turned it into a forbidden fruit situation now where people are just going to buy it because you've told them that they shouldn't. So I wouldn't call that a victory for feminism, unfortunately.
Oh, it isn't. It's just you tell a child not to put their hand in the cookie jar because it'll get stuck. They're gonna reach for a cookie anyway. I mean, forbidden fruit tastes the sweetest. We all know that to be true. Um, but also at the same time, I think that despite it most likely being a marketing ploy, I think it's wonderful to see consumers supporting creative freedom, supporting the message that no matter what kind of content it is, within reason, it should be allowed to be published. And I think that's also something great to stand behind.
But it's also the right of the company to choose whether or not they sell a game to a specific market. Isn't that true as well?
Yes,
That is
absolutely.
true. Yeah, that is true. But I don't think that a company is evil if they decide not to if they decide not to sell a product. But at the same time, I think that they should be more considerate to how consumers feel about it before anything.
Hello, Noodle?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if you got cut off there, if you were... We're having a little bit of audio problems on your side, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Oh, on my side?
Yeah, no, we're just hearing... I don't know, it just got cut off there for a second. Anyway, do any of you girls have any... Because both of you are gamers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
that's why I invited you. Do any of you have any plans on purchasing or buying the game or playing the game or anything of that nature?
Well, I had no intention of doing so in the first place. So no, still no. I mean, yeah, I do disagree with the company's decision, but it's not going to make me rush out to buy a game that I never intended to buy in the first place.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I play fighting games. I play Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom. But Dead or Alive is well, the beach version is not really my cup of tea. But if someone else wants to buy it, then that's on them. I don't care. I mean, it's your choice.
Okay, and again, I've never played any of the Extreme Beach Volleyball versions of the game. I do understand the appeal of the games. I've only played some of the fighting versions of DOA. I have no intentions on buying this game. To be quite frank, I don't think my girlfriend would care if I bought this game, and if I did, she'd probably just raise an eyebrow and wonder why I bought the game. I'm not even sure why I would buy the game to begin with. But if the game was to be released in Western audiences, what do you think the response would be if the game was to show up on a store shelf at a Walmart or a Target or wherever? What do you think the response would be?
I think you'd end up with the same shitstorm that we usually see. Angry feminists jumping up and down about objectification and the male gaze, etc., etc., and then the rest of us who think it has every right to exist, and then the other side who push back just as hard. Yeah, it would be a mixed bag, the usual.
It's a proven formula. It happens all the time. I mean, every week there's something new going on in the gaming community, or between gamers who simply want to play games, and then these people, they come in and they're like, this is wrong to play, you're sinning against the religion of feminism if you pick up this game and play it, you are literally eye raping me. That's an exaggeration, I'm totally kidding, but I'm sorry, but in all seriousness, these people, they post pseudo-intellectual articles talking about how it's misogyny to play these games because it promotes rape culture, that women are nothing but objects. To understand what they're talking about, you have to sort of speak their language, and I've read up on it a lot, and it's like, I could say like 80% of them have no idea what the hell they're talking about. And here's how the process would go. Someone will post a picture of the game being sold, and then Kotaku and Porygon and all those gaming sites, they'll post about how, oh, DOA is still problematic. Here's why. Top 10 reasons why you shouldn't play this game. And all the same mumbo jumbo. And then, people who are, regular gamers or people who, go in Gamergate, whatever, people who are opposed to SGWs, they'll rise up and they'll say, hey, this is censorship to demand that, people not play the game. This is that, and they'll, be flinging Deca at each other like a bunch of monkeys online, and then sales will go up, and the only people benefiting from the whole controversy will be the company selling the game itself.
So it's safe to say that for all of us here on this discussion right now, none of us have any plans on buying the game at all.
No.
But people have the right to buy this game if they choose to. It's their right at the end of it.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And regardless of what people say or think about the game itself, because there's been controversies about the previous versions of this game when it was released in the past, and I remember these controversies thrown around because I remember when the first Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball was coming out, everybody was thinking, oh, it's just a game, girls with boobs, volleyball, sex sells, we know who it's pandering to, that kind of thing. And I know some of the controversies involved were, well, would kids be playing this game? And, of course, these games are not for kids. We know that. You as gamers know that. That's something that's been jargoned up also as well. But then, of course, there's also been discrepancies on whether there was nudity in the game, despite the fact there wasn't nudity in the game. They were just wearing very revealing clothing that people would wear at the beach. And I used to live in Miami, Florida, so I know a thing or two about revealing clothing existing everywhere. And this is a video game. That's, of course, where it would be. I'm not sure where it is in other places where you might be living, but again, is there any major issue we can see with this game at all, except for the fact that there's sex appeal to it?
No. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't buy it for anybody under the age of 14, but because it's common decency. Like, oh, don't buy this for him. It's kind of inappropriate, but otherwise, it's just a game. I mean, everybody knows that it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just for fun. And otherwise, people are just making a mountain out of a molehill, like Zombie said. And if you want to buy it. If not, then move on with your life. It's not something to waste your breath over.
Okay. Well, Danny, we might actually end this discussion a little bit early. Do any of you guys have anything to add about this or anything in that nature?
I think that pretty much summed it up for me. I mean, if you want to buy it, buy it. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But otherwise, you're just going to get yourself caught in just a maelstrom of shit over circumstances that you can't change. So, there you are.
Yeah, that's about
it.
Okay. Well, again, joining me was Zombie Nath and Lomi Noodle. Are there anything you guys want to push? Any Twitch accounts or YouTube channels or anything the like?
No.
Well, I have the same username on Twitch. I mean, I do occasionally stream from the PS4, but that's about it.
Well, if anybody wants to, I don't know, buy me a Jotaro body pillow, go for it. Because I really want one, okay?
Christmas is right around the corner, and if you do you celebrate Christmas? I mean, I should have asked beforehand because I may have offended you.
No, dude, are you serious? I don't even care.
Stacky. I mean, yeah.
It was just a joke. I know I've offended somebody probably, but again, these are
shit, Lord.
My jokes. Do not express the opinion of Game Journalism Network. It's just a live discussion again. Anyway, thank you for joining me for this discussion. I'm Aaron Pabone. Joining me was Zombie Nathan, Lomi Noodle. This has been Game Journalism Network. Have a good evening.
All right.